What has been going on in Braves country this offseason? Well, I'm here to tell you guys what exactly has been going down this offseason for the Atlanta Braves. A very strange offseason to me. This team has kind of done the opposite of the Los Angeles Dodgers since, because of course the Dodgers have spent $1 billion. The Braves have not spent $1 billion, but it seems like they have done 1 billion trades. I got them all down here unless I missed one. I'm going to discuss them all a little bit and the outlook for the Atlanta Braves in 2024. The Atlanta Braves finished at 104-58, back-to-back 100-win season for the first time, I believe, in the franchise history. In the first seed in the National League and eventually falling to the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League Division Series. Want to look to avoid the Phillies at all costs going into next year. Do not get that first round matchup with the Phillies. You're off to a good start there in the postseason, but the Braves back-to-back disappointing losses to the division rival. That's not a good marker. Similar to the Dodgers, back-to-back NLDS losses to division rivals. Teams seem to be kind of parallel to each other, and the Braves got the offseason started here. I got a laundry list of trades here to go through, so don't mind me looking down and up here. Start off with Aaron Bummer. They acquired Aaron Bummer from the Chicago White Sox. Aaron Bummer, a guy that is a left-handed relief pitcher. I think he can do pretty well in Atlanta. Again, the Braves really solidify their bullpen. Want that to be a stronghold for the Atlanta Braves. Pitching, offense, they're a really complete team on both sides of the ball, and Aaron Bummer does help them from the left side. They gave up quite a lot in return to get Aaron Bummer. It was kind of a strange deal. I have no idea why they gave up so much to get Aaron Bummer. They gave up a lot, and that's kind of the thing that I've seen here after analyzing all these trades. A lot has gone out of Atlanta more than anything has come in. So they've acquired some players, but they've actually sent out a lot more players this offseason than they have acquired. Sent out 5 players in that Aaron Bummer trade, headlined by Mike Soroka and Nicky Lopez. In the second trade, they traded Nick Anderson, reliever, to the Kansas City Royals for cash consideration. So Nick Anderson was the guy that was in the Braves bullpen last year, and they traded him away to the Kansas City Royals and some refurnishing with their bullpen. And Nick Anderson was one of those guys that they traded away to the Kansas City Royals. They made another trade with the Kansas City Royals and traded Kyle Wright to the Royals for Jackson Kowar. So Jackson Kowar, we'll talk about him in a second, but Kyle Wright, a guy that was a starting pitcher, was supposed to be highly touted by the Braves and really just, I guess, never lived up to that hype. Kind of similar to Mike Soroka. We saw flashes in a panel with Mike Soroka and Kyle Wright. They both had their chances with Atlanta, but the Braves have decided to give up on them, and they have gone elsewhere in trade. So Kyle Wright was sent out by the Braves. They didn't sign relief pitcher Reynaldo Lopez. Reynaldo Lopez, a guy that kind of known for being teammates with Lucas Giolito, key piece of the bullpen for the Braves going forward. Going back to Jackson Kowar, they traded Jackson Kowar and Cole Phillips to the Seattle Mariners, and this was one of the bigger trades that they have made. Acquired Jared Kelenic, Evan White, and Marco Gonzalez. That trade, headlined by Jared Kelenic. Jared Kelenic is going to be the left fielder. That means Eddie Rosario is going to be no longer on this Braves team going next year. I think that's what's going to happen here. Jared Kelenic is a guy that was highly touted prospect by the Mets, traded to the Mariners. Now is getting a fresh start once again in Atlanta, and I think Kelenic could be a pretty good piece for the Braves. I do like Kelenic. I'm not sure he'll ever be that superstar, but I think it could be an all-star potential with the Braves. Marco Gonzalez was then flipped over to the Pirates, and in trade number 6, they acquired Max Stassi and David Fletcher from the Anaheim Angels. Max Stassi was then flipped over to the White Sox in trade number 7. David Fletcher is still in their organization. They have a lot of utility infielders. Fletcher, Luke Williams, they re-signed, and they also signed from the Angels this offseason, Andrew Velasquez. And in trade number 8, they acquired Matt Carpenter and Ray Kerr, so they immediately released Matt Carpenter, who is on the older side of things. Ray Kerr is a guy that I met last year. Ray Kerr is a lefty reliever, formerly of the San Diego Padres. What a nice dude Ray Kerr is, and so I got his autograph, and so I'm kind of happy to see him get traded. He's going to have a big spotlight over there with the Braves, and I hope he does well. So Ray Kerr, a lefty reliever for the Braves, once again adding to that bullpen. And finally, the 9th and final trade so far this offseason the Braves have made is acquiring Chris Sale in exchange for Vaughn Grisham. So I believe Vaughn Grisham is going to play second base for the Red Sox. Vaughn Grisham was a guy that was pretty good, I believe, in 2022. And we didn't really see him at all much of last year. And so Vaughn Grisham getting a fresh start with the Red Sox. We'll see what becomes of him. And Chris Sale, we know who Chris Sale is. when he is healthy, kind of similar to Tyler Glass now, except he's a lot older. Chris Sale is a guy that is going to give you quality when he's on the mound. They even extended Chris Sale today. They just extended Chris Sale today. So I think Chris Sale is going to do well in Atlanta. I think a fresh start really does help people, and I think Chris Sale is one of those guys. I think he'll fit in just right with the Braves. It's important to note that the Braves lost a decent chunk of the coaching staff this offseason, but I still think there's a good culture there with the Braves, and I think Chris Sale, you slot him into that 4 spot, is what he's projected to be at, in a rotation of Spencer Strider, Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Chris Sale, Bryce Elder. That's a pretty good rotation. I'm not sure if it's the best rotation in baseball. I think that you have a solid 3 starters there at the very minimum. You wonder about Charlie Morton and Bryce Elder, but Bryce Elder has shown potential. And of course, Chris Sale, if he can stay healthy, he'll give you at least a 3 ERA type season for the Braves. So overall, I think the Braves are in a good spot going to next year. They're going to be one of the top teams again, coming off of a season of Ronald Acuna being the MVP, make him the face of the league. I think the Braves are going to be in a good spot going into 2024. But you guys let me know, where do you think this Braves team stands heading into 2024? What do you think their outlook is for next season?